Okay, checking out Vlad's match against Emil Turcotte. Getting set up here. Let's skip to the start. And okay, Vlad had to take his shorts off. I think IBJJF rules state that your shorts can't have pockets or zippers or anything like that. So here we go, straight into it. All right, let's see right off the get-go. Vlad goes for some grip fighting, collar ties. It's hard to see with the ref in the way here. It's good that he's getting heavy on the head. That's a really good example of pummeling in here. So we see he's got, they turn around a little bit. He's got his right collar tie. And then here he's got right collar tie, left underhook. So right now Vlad has the full dominance of upper body grips. So that's super positive. I think his opponent pummels that elbow in, and now he's got a collar tie, and Vlad immediately doesn't accept that, pummels inside, so he keeps dominating the inside position. Now, inside position is not the only way to control upper body grips. There's things you can do with whizzers and 2-on-1s, and elbow passes, but as a general guideline, the inside position is better than those outside position controls. When in doubt, grab inside position. There's some interesting things you can do with outside position, though. Let's see how he converts into this headlock. His opponent tries to go. That's all Vlad. Nice, good work. So he drags him into a front headlock. His opponent tried to do kind of a lazy shot, but Vlad had a good collar tie, just backs up, pressures down, solidifies here the front headlock. Now once you're in the front headlock, you've basically got, okay, let's rewind here. There's a lost opportunity. Once you have the front headlock, so he makes the change here. Now you've got basically two options. One is to get your partner down to the ground, force them to post their hands onto the ground, and the second option is to circle around to the back or transition to another takedown. So the options are either complete the snap down or transition to another takedown. So here it looks like Vlad's trying to complete the snap down. In order to do that, he needs to back up, sit his weight down. He can also circle out. That can sometimes work. So he could step out to the side and pull his opponent the other way and try to force his hands to the mat. Basically, you're trying to break your partner down somehow. Now, because his partner is resisting a lot here, this might have been a good moment for Vlad to duck his head under the armpit over here and then reach with his left arm for a cross ankle pick. That's a really slick move from the front headlock. Another option is, seeing as his partner is pushing up a lot, he can pump down once and then release the head, and as his partner's head comes up, he's got access to the legs. He can go in for an easy double leg takedown, or if one leg is inaccessible, he can just grab one leg for a single leg and then come up, stand up real quick with it, and have a single leg that way. So here he's trying to get his hands to the ground, sinking his weight back. That's super good. And now his head's in really good position here. I'd love for him to just duck his head under the armpit and then reach across, grab that ankle, and then drive towards the referee's table, and that would have been a nice takedown here. His opponent tries to do a sit-through and just gets a scramble out of it. So he tries to poke his head out the side. He poke his head up and go out the side. That's something that you got to be aware of if you're attacking a front headlock, that people will try sit-throughs. You can often, if you anticipate them, you can cut them off as they're doing it, or let them do the sit-through but slow them down enough to capitalize on the position. So for instance here, if Vlad felt that coming, he could have switched his grip and then grabbed a sort of reverse underhook or a back underhook on this side with his right arm. So release his right arm, brought it over here, and then just sunk his partner's back down to the ground and complete the takedown and have either back exposure or a side control from there. But his opponent does a good job of scrambling and getting back up to the top, and then goes for pulling guard. All right, here's a really cool exchange. So what's happening here, when his partner pulled guard, he had this 2-on-1 grip, pulled the grip over to the side, and I suspect he's looking for either maybe a John Wayne sweep or a knee lever sweep to his left, or dominating the elbow over to his right and then getting the side scissor position or back exposure on that side, which could eventually turn into an arm bar or other attack opportunities or other sweeps. Vlad jumps out to the side and gets this side-on position and completes the pass by getting a crossface and then pummeling his legs out. Now it's really tricky here because his arm is still trapped, so he could maybe use his one of his knees to strip that grip, or use his hands. But if he does that, then he takes away the pressure on the body of his opponent. So that's a dilemma that you have to consider. Like what's more important now, flattening my partner out or freeing my arm? The issue with not having that arm free is that he doesn't have a post in that direction now. So as his partner goes to this kind of knee lever style attack, Vlad doesn't have a post and is vulnerable to being swept that way. But he does a good job of cutting the angle, and instead of leaving his spine parallel to his partner's, where he'd be more vulnerable to the sweep. So as his partner tries to do the sweep here, their spines are almost parallel, and he does a good job of turning out to be perpendicular and eventually go to more of a north-south style pass, which really cuts the power of the knee lever. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So from here, I mean, his arm being caught is what was preventing him from continuing and doing an escape. His arm's free now, and then he's just going into a regular half guard pass. So let's see that again. From here, he walks out to the side. Now he's just trying to free his leg. Here his opponent gives up the wrist, and then here you're in a regular half guard position. Ideally, you'd want an underhook here. If you get an underhook and your knee's on this side, then it's just blasting for a knee cut on that side. But because he doesn't have the underhook, he's got to figure out different ways to control him. One thing that I like to do here is put my elbow, kind of get an inside bicep tie, put your elbow on your partner's chest with your forearm along the bicep, and then you can use that to press them down and kind of staple the arm down and then pummel for the underhook. It's a lot easier to get a bicep tie than it is to get an underhook because people are so savvy to the underhook. So here his partner goes for that underhook. Vlad can use the crossface to flatten him out, but there's a risk that his partner gets to his side, starts elevating that underhook, and then and has a hard time coming through that. Oh, I switched that on to double speed by accident. All right, we're back into normal speed. Here we go. So not a bad idea to grab the head and start threatening an attack with the head. Here it looks like he's got his arm through. So if this arm leaves the hip and goes under his body, he could feed his right arm through for a darce strangle, and try that. And there he does connect the arms for the darce. But doesn't connect the hand on the bicep. But his partner had to hide his back on the mat in order to prevent him from getting the strangle. So he's back into a dominant position here on top. Capitalize with the pass. Well done. Here, it looks like his opponent's right arm is not framing properly. His elbow's not blocking the hip, so he could slide his knee up to go to a modified mount, and then with his right arm, try to scoop under the arm here above the elbow, and then start threatening for an arm bar or a back take. But it's hard to see what's going on the other side there. There might be a grip fight that I'm not aware of. No, nice. He scoops it up, goes to the back. Body triangle is a great option for control, but you don't get points for it. So here, Vlad's putting his hooks in to get his points. I think he scores his points there, and then goes to the body triangle for control. Really great decision. What makes that passing off easier is if you grab a cross wrist grip. You still manage to get it there with the same side wrist. See here, he's trying to create a situation where he doesn't have both of his opponent's arms to defend. So he's trying to put one arm under his leg, so his leg's blocking one of his opponent's arms, and then he's got 2 versus 1 on the upper body. Now that's kind of hard to do with your same side arm, not impossible, because sometimes your arm gets caught underneath, but the cross wrist grip is often a really good tool for that. Yeah, see he's like slipping out a little bit, and there he successfully gets it, frees his own arm, and now is going in for the strangle. Nice adjustment with bringing the ankle back in, by the way. Yeah, super. Beautiful match. So they get, I believe, a 1-minute break. Victory to Vlad Irimia. And then they'll have their second match. So let's skip ahead a bit. Vlad's rehydrating, getting some words of wisdom from Yan. Calm breathing, some good Tai Chi moves there. Oh yeah, he's ready. Round 2. All right, some upper body grip fighting again. All right, there's a moment here where Vlad goes for the underhook and his opponent doesn't do the typical reaction. So here Vlad's got the underhook with his left arm and his opponent doesn't do the typical thing of hooking on a whizzer. Now when you go for the underhook and your opponent doesn't give you a whizzer, well, you can call that an uncontested underhook, and that means you're free to then just bump that arm up a little bit to pass your head to the other side and attack the back. Another thing you can do with an uncontested underhook is just drop your level down a bit and transition from the underhook to grabbing the single leg. So those are options here with this arm. But I think Vlad was going in for an Uchimata. It looks like what he set up for. And because his opponent didn't have a whizzer, he didn't encounter the resistance or connection to his partner's shoulders that he was expecting. And then the Uchimata didn't really go anywhere. But that could have been an opportunity to switch to the back or attacking the leg. Hard to see with the ref in the way. Okay, that's a bit of a scramble there that was not based in a technique, but his opponent kind of gets a body lock. It doesn't look like it's a double under body lock. One arm, the other arm was over Vlad's arm maybe, but he does this kind of slide by tackle to bring his partner down, and is successful at bringing the fight to the ground, and then is trying to scramble up on top to consolidate top position. At this point, Vlad's priority should be to win the scramble and stay on top, especially because this is a points round and there's not a lot of time in the round. It's a 3-minute match. You really do want to gain your points, and because there's a high possibility that the match doesn't end in a submission, so you'll want to be scoring your points. In general, the best way to win scrambles is hip height. That's a generality. Sometimes it's shoulder height, sometimes it's head height, but often it's hip height. So at this point here, if Vlad could, it's hard to tell if it's available, but if he could free his knee and drive his knee over his partner's hips to get his hips higher, and I would even post out with that hand instead of connecting to the whizzer, although it's important to block the risk of the back, so you got to balance those two threats. That would have been a nice way to win this battle. Another possibility here is he could have posted his hand out far over on this side and turn his shoulder down and then gone into the dogfight position, which is kind of like an Uchimata from the knees. You don't necessarily need to do it from the knees. You can actually post out with your foot. So you could have this foot hooked under your partner's leg, this whizzer pressing down on the shoulder, this hand posted out over here, and this foot actually posted out over here. And then just hop circularly towards your partner as you elevate their hips and bring pressure on their shoulders down. So that could have been another way to win that scramble once you got to that position. But unfortunately, his partner got to the top. Luckily, he was able to capitalize on a omoplata threat, force the roll, and get on top. Okay, this is real. There's a lot going on here. Real scrambly.